Thanks for joining us for this panel at ISE 2025. We're here today to talk all things Microsoft Teams rooms, specifically the cross-section with that and bring your own meeting. Jane, first question to you. Does the freedom of a BYM approach outweigh the benefits of a native Microsoft solution, do you think?
Wow. Freedom is an interesting question, because with a BYOM, bring your own meeting or bring your own device, it gives you certain freedoms on platforms, but the freedom of being able to plug your own device into the AV in the room may also give you challenges. So freedom on one hand, challenges for the end user potentially in different meeting experiences, and potentially challenges for the IT organisation who has to manage those spaces as well. I don't know, Mehryn, what do you think?
I think freedom is, like you had said, it's a challenging word. If you think about, if I have to be the person that is driving the meeting with my device, I don't call that very much freedom. Like, I don't like being that person particular, because there's things that I'm doing on the side, like using Copilot to ask itself questions. So I think for me personally, I think the best experience is always native, but you've got to scale up in some ways. So there are places where BYOM or BYOD might make sense, but it's all a balance.
I guess it's, when we talk about integrators, they are seen as kind of independent in terms of their brand loyalty. So I guess it was kind of maybe based on that they might particularly like a brand that maybe wouldn't fit into this kind of a Microsoft kind of system. So it was kind of more kind of about that, giving them the choice, really, I guess, maybe more than freedom. But you still think it's, you think the Microsoft is kind of the way to go just because of the solidity, maybe? Or
when you think about an end customer, in general, I think pandemic times really forced a lot of companies to maybe adopt a platform of choice. Prior to, there might have been multiple platforms, but we've seen a lot of our customers really adopt and go all in on one. So if you are a Microsoft house and you're using that for the majority of your meetings, it makes sense to eliminate a lot of the friction and go in with Microsoft Teams rooms. If you're, a Zoom house, you might want to go with that platform and a native solution there. So I think platform-based decisions are becoming a lot more the reality when you think about collaboration in our ecosystem. And the other element is, as integrators in this ecosystem, is when you have a platform-based solution, there's lots of opportunity to build services around that, because there's advisory things of, okay, how can I optimize my meetings for Teams? How do I know how to do Copilot within a meeting room and how to optimize it within that space and intelligently capture everyone's voice? So there's a major moment of opportunity right now for this ecosystem to provide customers advisory support and day two support around how to optimize their spaces.
Yeah, and I think just to really, maybe a little counter argument on that one, the platform itself is actually driving the features and is driving the experience. So, many features now don't reside on the device anymore, and the different OEMs that deliver those, they actually reside on the platform itself. So if you're used to using the features, intelligent audio and intelligent voice recognition and facial recognition, that's fantastic. If you go into a room that doesn't have that, the end customers may be confused on why, and Mehryn mentioned Copilot. I don't know if anybody's heard of AI or anything. Not on the show.
It wouldn't be a podcast without saying that word.
That's right. I think you're commissioned on that as well. But imagine a space where you actually can't use Copilot, yet the rest of your day you'll spend, we use it an awful lot now. Just to summarize our meetings that we've had, it remind me of all the actions that I said I was going to do, but I maybe have surreptitiously forgotten about them. But you've got to have that. If you decide as an end customer that's your strategy, it needs to be everywhere.
I think the older model, the IT model, certainly was like you all buy from one company and one company only, right? And there was a kind of movement against that. But it feels like Microsoft is kind of opening up a lot more than it probably ever has. You'll see so many Microsoft certified partner logos on stands, all in every hall, probably in this whole build. Is it fair to say they are building a bigger ecosystem?
Absolutely. We've definitely are building for scale. I think we want to give customers what they're looking for, and having such a rich ecosystem provides the opportunity for immense amount of innovation at a very quick pace. So exciting always, honestly, on a monthly, even weekly basis, the amount of features that come out on a software basis, but also on a hardware standpoint. So it's given, you think about the amount of types of spaces, you really have to build in a lot of flexibility and options for what the customer might want.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely, because we're not just talking BYOM or MTR only. You've got the high impact spaces, the multiple screens, cameras, audio, and a customer may want a variety of those different spaces supporting with different technology. So it's super important that all of that partner ecosystem is involved and the same narrative is used, but it's team certified at the end of the day to ensure it all works together.
Yeah, I mean, I guess when we talk about MTRs, we probably think of just a simple kind of 6 to 8 meeting room with the kind of one screen. But there's lots of different flavors within that, isn't there?
Lots of different flavors.
yeah. We like to call them archetypes. In the Microsoft world, we act as customer zero. So we have a 12,000 plus meeting room estate. If you think about Microsoft, we're probably the biggest customer of our own. And so you have to think about standardization and scale. Imagine every single one of those meeting rooms was bespoke. That's not ideally the way to go. So we do make an effort to streamline, and sometimes we do try to stick within an ecosystem of a certain OEM, but the amount of different types of spaces and needs is different depending on even where you are. So it's been an exciting journey, I would say. And we, as a customer ourselves, are adding new archetypes every week. So, this current moment in time, we're focused on something called rapid or express rooms. So looking to implement rooms at scale in a very quick pace. So we introduced that this week with a couple of partners and are excited to see that next journey for our whole entire ecosystem of how they deliver rooms at scale and efficiency.
Yeah, I mean, everywhere I've been in this show, everyone wants to talk about ease of use, but also ease of use installation, right?
Yes.
These giant LED walls that are now called all-in-one, so you can put them up in an hour, and it's all based around that, right? It's just, if you can integrators can do more with their day, they can make more money, right?
Yeah,
Hopefully.
totally. But again, we've got 80 million meeting spaces in the world, something like that. Probably we're still only 15% of them are deployed with the right video conferencing. So the total addressable market is huge. Are we going to enable those meetings unless we have the ability to deploy at scale? No, we're not going to get anywhere near them. It's going to take us another 50 years, and then we'll be refreshed 10 times in that,
I think that the pace of things are going to happen a lot faster than people think because of the proliferation of AI, the ability to pull in transcription and speaker attribution, at least for Microsoft, is incredibly important. And to do that, you need the technology within every space to be able to pull that in. So everything at the edge within these spaces needs to be properly equipped. And so we're working within our ecosystem to make sure we address that need in a very swift pace. So it's an exciting challenge to all of you that are watching. Yeah.
Final question. I just wanted, in terms of making the decision between a Microsoft native and a BYOM, is that kind of often or always driven by the client or the client's IT team's preferences? Jane, who's driving that kind of decision? Because we all use Microsoft as a
platform.
an office platform, right? But Teams is kind of slightly different. Maybe, I don't know. It's becoming more and more part of that. But
I think the platform first is the first choice that an organization will make. So just decide on Microsoft or Google or Cisco. And from there is how deep you're going to go into that platform. And we get so caught up on meeting rooms, right? Because we love meeting rooms. We've been in this industry for such a long time. But it's such a small part, really, of a whole workflow conversation. So I think, I don't know, Mehryn talked about opportunities for our industry. I think there's an opportunity for our industry now to look beyond the meeting room, if there's such a thing exists, to the full workflow. How many times in my day do I get involved in meetings that's not in a meeting space? And it could be an ad hoc space. Microsoft have GA Places now. It's super early on in that, but what a great opportunity for our industry to start expanding the talk track into how I walk around a space and book desks. I mean, you can talk about places better than I can.
Yeah, so we're seeing a lot of companies go back to the office in a different way. We're not working the same way we were 4 years ago, even 1 year ago. And a lot of these flexible workspaces where I might come into the office 2-3 days a week, and when I come in, I might not have an assigned desk. So that whole desk hoteling category is certainly a fresh new one. Knowing when my teammates are going to be in the office and then booking, and it's suggesting that I go sit near them, or, hey, you're in the same space and you're both in the same meeting, why don't we book a room for you? So Microsoft Places is something we introduced in November of this year. currently GA, and really excited for
what's next?
Yeah,
and
it's
the
awesome.
opportunity for the industry. Absolutely.
Fantastic. All that's left is thank Jane, Mehryn, thank you very much for your time, and thanks you two for watching. Bye bye.